Hello one and all, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about the lovely series that has been going on for the last month now. Of course, if you're in the know, then you know. And if you're not, well, I would love to try and talk you into watching the beautiful show that I have adored for the last almost 3 years, and that is Andor. Season 2 has gone absolutely tremendously, and we are now 9 episodes in. I am now fully caught up, and now I feel like I have the ability to speak about it, the ability to talk about it, what I've liked about it, and what I hope happens in the remaining 3 episodes. I know that is a crazy sentiment, a crazy statement, considering we have 3 episodes left. And that's it for Cassian Andor. That is it for Luthen Rael. That is it for Mon Mothma. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to one of my favorite characters, Cyril Karn. How is that going to affect Deidre? This show has been nothing but just so fun. And I thoroughly enjoy the idea of the 3 episode releases at a time, because we are in a binge watching society. That's fair, that's a given. Myself included, I think in the past month I finished Breaking Bad from start to finish again. So it can be done. I've been rather busy. Of course, I'm writing my own Star Wars media at the moment, but I've recently been able to find time to watch this glorious show. And it's a show that I've genuinely enjoyed, genuinely was looking forward to, and have had my personal expectations blown out of the water. Of course, if you know me, if you're a longtime viewer, you know I don't watch trailers anymore. I don't like to be spoiled. I like to take everything at first watch experience to be as integral and unblemished as possible. Now, when you hear something like, oh, these episodes were great, which is what I was told by a friend shortly before watching episodes 7, 8, and 9, it does somewhat set up expectations for you in your mind. And I've set up clear boundaries, with friends, with family, with loved ones. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know how good it was. I don't want to know how you liked it. We'll discuss it afterwards, right? But I think in today's society, where leaks are so talked about and discussed and even fraught after, people are constantly looking for leaks. Not just looking at them, but looking for them. I like to go in to any experience unshaped, unmolested, unmoved by a trailer. Is it Luke? Hey, Luke. Good morning. Because I just think that it's vital to generate your own thoughts, your own opinions. I think it's so important because too often you just see the same stuff rehashed, reworded. And it's like, cool, but how about an original thought, you know? And the one thing that I love the most is hearing about other people's interpretations of art. And it is sad that oftentimes there are what are discussed as, shared opinions. The overall opinion, the general consensus. Because how often, genuinely, and think about it, like, we're not talking about fuel that you put into your body. We're not talking about, exercising. We're not talking about financial obligations. We're talking about art. There should never be a general consensus on art. And if there is, I feel like it's being painted with too broad of a stroke. This thing that we're seeing right here with Andor is telling such an emboldened story, and I can't wait to speak more about it once we see the final part of the story. In totality, we are missing a massive piece of the story. We know what's happened before, we know what's happened after, and we know what is leading up to where we're at right now, but we are missing 3 hours of essentially a 20-hour story between the 2 seasons and Rogue One. We're missing about 3 hours, give or take. And I think that these are going to be the most impactful episodes that we see. And I just simply cannot wait, because episodes 1 through 9 of this season have been so easily flowing and just fun to watch as a fan. The first 3 episodes really set the groundwork, where they were at, what they were doing, the difference between Cassian from where we last see him to Cassian now. And each year that passes, you can just subtly see him falling in love more with the cause while fighting to remain who he is at his core, which is the man that Bix fell in love with. And like she said, she regrets every moment that they didn't get to spend together. And that brings us to Bix, and that brings us to where we're at now. This show is all about family. It's all about love. And it's got a very funny way of doing that and proving that. But you just see such real depictions of who people are, how people love, where people go to get their love, how people express it, the ways that they show it, and the different embodiments of these relationships, whether it be Cyril and his mother, whether it be Cyril and Deidre, whether it be Cassian and Bix, whether it be Vel and Cinta, whether it be friendships like Cassian, or I guess as he was known, Keith, and Melshi. I just think that there's such an allure to this show because there are just so many distinct characters that all have their purpose, their reasoning, and they are the domino that hits the domino in front of them and gets hit by a domino behind them. But if they weren't there, the whole system doesn't work. That's what the brilliance of season 1 told me. All of these characters, we see their entire story told out in a 12 episode season, and in the final episode, somehow, someway, all these characters have came together. And now we get an entirely new evolution of these characters, years apart. And it's just a brilliant media form, and I cannot wait for season 2. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section below. I'm going to let Luke out as he is staring at the door. With peace, knowledge, and serenity, may the Force be with you. I think I'm back. And I think it's due to Andor.